It's no secret to anyone that knows me that I love the original Resident Evil 4. And I played it multiple times across multiple platforms like the PS2, the GameCube, Xbox 360, Wii, PS3, PS4, iPhone 3GS, and yes, I did say iPhone 3GS. I did, in fact, actually like that version of the game. And yeah, sure, the iPhone version at the time wasn't really one-to-one with the console and PC counterparts. But for what it was at the time, in the early years of smartphone gaming, it was pretty alright. The game was split up into stages rather than one unified area. You fought similar enemies in similar ways. You aim at the head, stun them, run up, kick them, and then proceed to slash them with your trusty knife while they're kissing the very dirt that you, the beautiful blonde, very American hottie Mr. Leon Scott Kennedy, walk on. It was more than enough, especially for 2009. It's now 2024, 15 years since that old iOS port came out, and 1 year after the highly acclaimed remake of Resident Evil 4 was released. I love the remake. I love it as much as I love the original game. I've already played through it multiple times on PC and the Xbox Series consoles. We're not reviewing RE4 here. That's not what this video is about. This video is about the third version of Resident Evil 4 Remake that I have just recently acquired, and that version being the Apple App Store version. In my case, I am playing the game on a 256GB iPad Air 5th generation, running the first generation of the Apple Silicon chips, the M1. And long story short, it works pretty gosh darn well, I'd say. Now, I wouldn't go ahead and say that it's the best way to play the game, but it sure as heck is a valid. Content-wise, it contains absolutely everything that the remake on consoles and PC have, and it plays mostly the same as well. Now, I say mostly because depending on wow, I wrote it. I say mostly because depending on it depends on two things. Wow, good job, me. And I say mostly because really it depends on two things. The first being how you choose to control the game. Touchscreen, on-screen controls, or using a wireless gamepad of your choice, which could be a PS5 DualSense, or in my case, since I like to separate where I use certain controllers, I'm using an 8BitDo Pro 2 controller, which I absolutely love. The second thing that is important to note, and that is important in the decision as to whether or not you could enjoy this game, this version of the game, is the sensitivity that you might have towards running games that run mostly at 30 frames per second and don't always look not blurry. Oh, and there's also the price too. Now, as of writing, you can easily find a copy of Resident Evil 4 Remake on consoles or on PC for a decent amount less than it was at launch. Maybe about $30, I think, is the cheapest I've seen it. $40 as well. The Apple App Store version is currently being sold for the full the full $60 price tag, plus the extra $10 it would cost if you want to play separate ways. That bitch in the red dress, Ada Wong. You want to play as Ada Wong, you're going to spend that extra $10 on separate ways. Or you could just play the Mercenaries mode, which is fully in this game as well, you know, and it's still super fun. Now, this version of the game is about half a year younger than its original release on other platforms, and it was released at a hefty discounted price of $29.99. So I won't say anything else about the current price. If you'd rather wait for it to go back down to that $30 price point, that is, if ever it does, I wouldn't blame you. Me, I love RE4 Remake, and I love my iPad Air 5 too much to not hop right on it. So here we are, talking about this game, the very passable version of this amazing game, which is still amazing even though it's just the passable version of said amazing game. It's definitely not the best version of the game. It's definitely not the best way to play it. Heck, it's not even close. If you happen to only own an Apple device and don't feel it's necessary to purchase a console or a PC to play this game, then I think it's great because you have the option to play it. Like, even if you do own the other consoles, like the PS5, let's say you own a PS5 and you own an iPad or a MacBook running the M1 chips, I think it's great that you have the option either way, even though right now, currently, it is more expensive than the other versions. And some people hate touchscreen controls, and to some extent I actually prefer them, even over mouse and keyboard, because for some reason my aiming is way better with my fingers than they are with my thumbs or my entire hand or wrist. Another thing I really like is that since you're running this version on an iPad or say a MacBook Air, for example, you have the luxury of not ever hearing a fan whir up. The only thing you'll hear is the game itself and maybe the light tapping of your fingers or the light pressing of buttons, because the iPad Air, the iPad Pro, and the MacBook Airs, they don't run on fan. They don't have fans in their hardware, so no matter how much you push the system, you won't hear a single thing outside of what you want to hear, which is really cool. And again, if you're playing on touchscreen, combine that with the fact that there's no fan, silent gaming in bed with your partner, your child, or your pet rabbit can definitely be a reality. Way more quiet than it would, say, a Steam Deck, a ROG Ally, or, you know, just turning on the PS5 makes a sound. Now, I know you can turn that off, but who wants to do that? Don't scream or throw the iPad when you get to the regenerators. That's probably not a good idea. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you like the video. I hope I like the video. I have to edit it.